Nation, stand up.
Happy Tuesday, Owl Nation. We are here at the Owl or Nothing podcast on September 29th, 2020.
Welcome, Chris. How are you?
Jay, I've never been better. How are things?
They're great.
Fantastic. How was your weekend?
It was good. I'm excited. We're in phase 2 right now for all the athletes.
Phase 2 for our athletes. That's big stuff. Exciting things.
Glad everyone's getting out, training.
Me too. I'm excited about it. Did I hear you say LeMahieu won the batting title?
He did. Won the American League and Major League Baseball batting title. Wasn't even close either.
Wow. I didn't know that.
First player ever to win in both leagues, National and American League.
Really?
First player of all time. He's a ball player.
It's a great pickup by the Yankees. They had him cheap last year. Hopefully they can re-sign him, bring him back.
Wow.
I would roll out the red carpet for him.
I'm with you, Cubs.
You guys are big baseball guys. I'm not a big baseball guy.
America's game, man.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just not a bit. I'm a basketball guy. I like basketball. We talk about this all the time. I'm a huge Heat fan. I'm not one of those LeBron Heat fans. I mean, Jay can attest to the fact.
You're a LeBron fan. I had a good question come up.
I am a LeBron fan. I'm not, but I didn't become a Heat fan because of LeBron.
Right.
I want to make that clear. You know that, Jay.
Yeah,
I've been a Heat fan for as long as you've known me.
First of all, congratulations on the trip to the NBA Finals.
The thing that people are not talking about, which we talked about prior to this, is Udonis Haslem. I mean, I think he should get all the credit for this illustrious Heat run that they've been on over the last however many years, 10 years, whatever that number's been.
Because he's been on all the teams.
Yeah, he was there with Shaq. I mean, he was. I think he was a rookie or maybe a second year in the NBA. I mean, he was older anyway. He went overseas and played in France and stuff like that. But he was a rookie or second year with Shaq's team.
Can we get Pat Riley some credit, though?
But yeah, Pete Riley gets some credit. What was your question?
A friend of mine made a bold statement this morning. He said that LeBron James is the first player in the history of the NBA to live up to the hype that was built up around him when he came into the league. And I had to say, hold on. What about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I think they all lived up to their hype. I mean, Michael Jordan had a lot of hype coming in. Michael Jordan had just won an NCAA championship. No.
Not nearly as much as LeBron has. It's a different time, too. There was more access for LeBron, coming in.
Right. I do think like it was crazy to think about LeBron was on the front of Sports Illustrated in high school. He was the chosen one. I mean, that is a lot to have to deal with. And he has...
The older guys towards me go right. We go right to Larry and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Right. Kareem before that, maybe.
Yeah.
And since then, I'd say Shaq, Garnett, maybe Iverson.
Those were great, yeah. But I think that no one has had the pressure that LeBron has had. So I think whoever you had that conversation with it may be right because no one's ever faced the pressure he has coming into the league. You're an 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid. You're on Sports Illustrated. You're on national. It's nuts. Yeah. Like imagine that. You didn't even go to college. And you're expected to be the greatest player ever.
High school games and everything.
It's crazy.
I always had the spotlight on. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Well, listen, we can talk about this all day, but we don't have time for this. And whoever said that was right.
Right.
I'd like to talk to this guy.
Okay.
Sounds like a stand-up fella. He's a LeBron fan.
He is a LeBron fan. I'm neither. I'm impartial. I miss the '80s basketball.
Well, unfortunately, it's not coming back. So, I don't think.
Can I get it? Can I get a JT a little bit?
Yeah.
About the 49ers.
Last
week I said you were going to be upset by the end of the week. And sure enough.
Yeah, I don't think I'm upset. I think I've accepted the fact that the New York Giants are not very good right now. And congratulations on the win.
9 starters out.
Yeah, I know.
Any
Next
win,
man up
any win with
mentality.
9 starters in the NFL, you got to take.
I tip my cap.
Someday we could talk about the last season where the Giants had a ton of injuries. In fact, me and Jay were in attendance at a game with Matt Lakowski, the Associate AD for Compliance. We were at a game where like 3 starters went out.
Yeah,
Beckham went out. I mean, it was a
couple years ago. Odell broke his leg, I believe.
Yeah, and a couple other starters. That was a rough year, and it was a rough game for you too. But it was a rough year, really.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's been a tough year.
Well, let's get
bang Niner game.
Let's get to the reason that we're here, and it's not to talk about sports or us. It's to talk about the things that these podcasts are meant to be, whether it's athletes, alums, coaches. We've been fortunate so far to have the athletic director on. Great podcast. The head women's field hockey coach and senior women's administrator, Kelly Fraston, which is awesome. And today we're lucky to be joined by Gillian Hotchkiss of the women's soccer team. Gillian, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Out of Woodland High School. You live in Beacon Falls, or the Beacon Falls area up there, so we're glad to have you on the show.
Glad to be.
We're a little offended. You told us you have not listened to any of the previous podcasts, so we're a little upset.
I could not find them.
Well, Ken's got to get on that. Ken's got to figure out a way to get him promoted more, I guess. So,
yeah, I want to.
First student athlete featured.
Right.
This is going to be huge.
Yep. This is going to be awesome.
Thank you for all the listeners out there as well.
Yeah,
thank you for listening. So, Jill, when did you develop, your love for soccer?
At a young age, I started playing soccer around the age of 4. I played kind of rec soccer, travel in my town area. And it wasn't until I had gone to a soccer tournament that I kind of developed this insight into how big the soccer world was. So I got involved in club soccer and premier soccer, and I started traveling from there on. High school, started playing high school soccer, and then I started looking at different colleges my sophomore year of high school, visiting schools, going to ID camps, things like that, and then ended up committing to Southern my junior year of high school.
Awesome. So, Coach Cohen is a friend of mine outside of work, so I don't think he'd be too upset me talking about him. But what made you want to play? Coach Cohen's could be a little quirky at times. He tends to only have one volume, which is yelling, not in an angry way. He just talks loud. He's a loud talker. What drew you to Coach Cohen in Southern Connecticut? What made this the right fit for you?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the campus, first of all. The people here, I got to be part of the Honors College, so that was a really big part of everything, too. Ever since I was a freshman, actually, I was going to Southern Women's games. I had a few alumni from my high school that played here, Carrie DiBiase. So I knew a lot of the players here, and they had talked highly about the team. I think it was the year before I came in as a freshman. They had a really good team, really good program. I liked their kind of tactics. Their formation was very similar to what I had played in club soccer. And I had talked to Coach Cohen a few times over the phone, met with him in person. I got to do a few ID camps here. And he's just very invested into the team, the well-being of the team, making the team better, and I really love that.
That's awesome. Was Gina Della Rose from Woodland High School? Is that maybe a little too...
Yes,
yeah, I thought so. I remember that, too. See? Been here a long time. I remember a lot of these athletes that have come through, so...
So you mentioned the formation. Can you tell our listeners what formation, or is that giving away too much information?
Might be giving away too much. We've changed our formation a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, we played 3 in the back, 4 in the back, 4 in the back again this past year. Don't know what it's going to be again this year, but yeah.
I've been to a lot of soccer games, and that's like you're speaking Spanish to me right now, or another language. 4 in the back, I don't know what that means, but we don't want her to give away.
4 defenders, right?
Yeah, 4 defenders.
You're asking to give away a lot of information. I'm curious sometimes.
I was just curious
who you're working for here.
Coach Cohen is notorious for nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your nickname? Your Cohen name?
So I'm Julian, or GH. So I'm Coach Ukrainian. Sometimes has difficulty remembering what people's names are. So there's a lot of interesting names. So he called me Julian. So now everyone calls me Julian.
Julian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's big with the initials. So GH.
Yep.
All right.
Who has the best nickname on the team, do you think?
Taylor Moore a few years ago. Coach Ukrainian called her Jordan. So she had the best nickname. Jordan.
Interesting.
I'll take my nickname for a minute. It's just JT. I'll take that. So you had a successful year last year. The team was 10-7 and 4 overall, 4-2-1 at home, protecting the home turf. Can you just tell us about your experience with the team last year? And I know you guys had a trip to the NE10 finals. Unfortunately, you lost to St. Rose, I believe, 3-2.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us about the team last year? And you girls had a great run.
Yeah, it was a really great team environment last year. We had I know my freshman year we had quite a rough season. So it was kind of a little bit of a journey to turn everything around, make more of a positive environment for the team. We had Sebastian come in, which was kind of like a mental coach, and he helped us develop our team core values, team goals, and kind of get everyone back on the same page. Because it's difficult going through a season, sometimes, not everyone can play. So there's a lot of, I'm going to say, like, people have a hard time going through that sometimes. And so getting everyone on the same page and reminding them to buy into the team is the most important thing for us, because it really keeps the team positive. And when we're on a run like that, it just gives us momentum to keep going.
Did you ever experience anything like that, working with a coach about mindset, team mindset?
Nothing. I had never experienced anything like that in the past, and it was really interesting when he had come in. I think a lot of people were questioning what it was going to be like, the type of things we were going to go over, and if they were even going to work. And he kind of explained, the different processes that teams go in when new freshmen come in. There's kind of this storming stage where things don't work. You might be losing games. So he kind of told us how to get through that, how to get back on page to become a winning team.
So you mentioned that, some girls, they can't play every year. I know you had an injury your sophomore year. Mm-hmm. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about your injury and the recovery process and what you had to go through mentally and physically? Yeah,
so, it was a lot. It's ACL. I tore my ACL, my right knee. It's a very common injury for girls in soccer, and it's always something where it happens to everyone around you, and you're like, it never really occurs to you that it could and will happen to you. Mm-hmm. So I was playing before I actually came to school in a summer league. It was contact injury. I had collided with two girls and basically ended up tearing my ACL. It was the only ligament that I tore, which I was thankful for, but kind of went through this process where I didn't know that I had torn my ACL. I had seen a surgeon, and they told me that everything seemed okay. So I went a whole month not really being able to do anything, which kind of set me back even more, because a lot of times when you tear your ACL, they do prehab. So there's a lot of strengthening for your quad, hamstring, things like that. So that helps with the injury. So I went for a while not knowing that I had torn it. Saw another surgeon, found out that I tore it, had surgery. So I had surgery in September. The first few weeks we were back here at school, and it was a hard process. It was really hard because I was away from the team a lot. I wasn't able to travel with the team. It was hard even getting around campus. I was in a wheelchair for about a month, so it was a really difficult process. And then when I was able to start, doing things again, you're really weak. I had a lot of weakness in my quad. And it took a lot of rehab with the athletic trainers here and physical therapists and, even training on my own. And to even get back to the level that I was at was, really difficult. It took me a really long time. It took me over a year to come back. I didn't start playing until the following July.
Now, I noticed through that conversation your medical terms and things are a little more versed than the average person might be. And most of none of our viewers probably know this, or very few will know that you're an EMT.
I am an EMT.
Can you touch upon that a little bit? And is that something that plays into, your future aspirations after graduation? Is it something you just kind of did to do? It's just an interesting thing.
So I recently became an EMT. When I had torn my ACL, I wasn't really, invested in health and fitness and things like that. And once I did tear my ACL, I kind of fell in love with going to the gym, working out, eating healthy. And that kind of was like a pathway into being an EMT. My brother's a firefighter in our hometown. So he kind of got me interested in it. When we were home for quarantine, actually, my parents both work in the medical field. Oh. So they were gone all day, long hours. It was just me and my brother at home, and he would go down the firehouse. He's like, why don't you just go down, just hang out. So I became just a social member. I helped with community events, organizing, fundraising. And then the town next to us had offered a accelerated 6-week program for the EMT, which is usually 6 months. Mm-hmm. It's 120 hours in the class. And he was like, you should really do it. I was like, I don't know. So I decided to do it. I went ahead with the course, and I actually fell in love with it. It was super interesting to me, all the different things we learned. And, I decided to join my local fire department as an EMT. So you go through the 120 hours of the course. You have to pass the class. And then once you pass the class, there's kind of a physical examination. They kind of test your skills, your knowledge of, dealing with different types of patients and situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you pass that, there's a written exam. So once you pass the written exam, I passed that 2 weeks ago. So then you start working as an EMT.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. And I worked my first 2 shifts this weekend, actually.
So, like, did you ride an ambulance and all that kind of stuff? Is that what you? That's awesome.
So I worked Friday from 6 in the afternoon to 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I did the same Saturday.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot to be just thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a small town, so not really a high call volume.
Right.
But, of course, the weekend that I worked, we had
now
9 or 10 calls.
Is that something that, like I said, is that something that maybe you're going to look to continue and grow in the field and do something different, or is it just something you're sort of doing in the meantime? Or
it's funny you say that because my mom is always like, you should get involved in the medical. And I'm like, no, thank you. That's okay, not for me. Because I'm a sociology criminology major.
That was my
That's what you studied here?
Yeah. Yep.
So interested in kind of like counterterrorism, homeland security, that type of field, law enforcement. So it was never really something I thought I would get into, but I'm glad that I did. And I think it's important that a lot of people kind of have that sort of first aid knowledge, at least CPR in my opinion, because you never know when situations like that could arise in everyday life. And I think going forward, it's something that I can always have and, do on the side, and something that I really enjoy.
That's awesome.
I feel like those, being a certified EMT works well with that major. Would you say so, Chris? Is that like something that you could, you could?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was here, I
It's
didn't.
good to tie them together.
I didn't do that,
like.
but after when I left here and got into my other career, it was something that was necessary anyway. So
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about your major. How's your experience as a student been here at Southern?
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love the people here. I love the community. I'm glad that I was able to get involved in a lot of different, clubs and programs and the different opportunities that I've been exposed to, especially being a student athlete. Mm-hmm. I've enjoyed, being a part of a team. So I've always been a part of a team, so it's something that I love doing and love meeting new people, so it's been really enjoyable for me.
And how strange is it this year? I mean, with the coronavirus and COVID, I mean, it's got to be we've talked to an administrator about how they dealt with it. We've talked to a coach about how they, from a student and a student athlete, so even from, the athlete perspective and then just general being on student perspective, what's that like? How has it been dealing with it? How was it when we left, last March, it was like, hey, we were on campus and in 2 days we were gone and you weren't back again until, the end of August, beginning of September. What has that whole experience been like?
Honestly, not easy. So when we went home for quarantine, I think it was in March, there was kind of this leeway where teachers had a difficult time getting online and getting everything processed. So there was a little while where I didn't have any classes, didn't have anything. I didn't have any classes in person. It was just kind of teachers throwing work online, get it done by this day, which, I mean, it kind of stinks because it takes away a lot of the, in-class learning and really, like, being invested in what you're learning in the education process. But, I mean, most of all, obviously being a student athlete, it stunk that we couldn't have a spring season. That's a really important period for us, especially with rebuilding after losing the amount of seniors that we did. So I think we lost out on an important time. I mean, can't say we're lucky now that our season got moved to the spring, but at least we have that time period now where we can rebuild and figure out how we're going to move going forward, especially with the freshmen. Practices, we're going into phase 2 now, which is good that we could see the rest of the team, because these first 2 weeks I couldn't even see the other half of my team, which is really, really difficult. Some of the freshmen, I barely know them at this point, so it's hard. And then on the, student side of everything, there's like that social aspect of meeting new people, making new friends, which is almost impossible to do at this point.
Right.
What type of leadership role do you play with the team?
So, this year as a senior, especially with the freshmen coming in and COVID and everything, I think it's even more difficult now, to get everyone on the same page. So I think, especially as a senior, leading by example, make sure that the freshmen are aware of different rules and things that we might not be able to convey to them because of COVID. It's a hard time explaining everything, practices, kind of like the everyday, run through of how things go is really hard. In the first place, and COVID makes it even harder. So, just leading by example, I think, is the best thing to do at this point.
Speaking of leadership, Jill, you're part of the SCSU SAC advisory team. You handle all the media relations and social media. And for the listeners who don't know what SAC stands for, it's Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So you can just talk and tell the listeners, what your role is doing media relations for SAC.
Yeah, so I don't know if a lot of the new student athletes really know what SAC is, but it's basically a committee of student athletes that are the voice for athletes here on campus and basically nationally. We go over a lot of the NCAA rules that come out and, voting on those and basically give an insight on, student athlete life and kind of our opinions go into those type of legislation. And, we basically the face for student athletes here on campus, show a positive student athletes in a positive light. So my role at student on SAC for social media basically is, making people aware of those type of rule changes, those type of things, kind of getting awareness about different, events or things that might be going on, just to try to get student athletes more involved in the, backhand side of athletics with legislation and administration.
Jay, you seem to know a lot about that organization. How come, that group?
Yeah, I'm actually the SAC advisor.
Oh, you're the advisor.
I think I mentioned that on the first podcast.
That's a softball question you just threw right there. Then you...
Yeah. Sometimes you got to throw a softball question up there, hit it out of the park.
I understand. I get it. So, Cub, what do you think? Are you ready to go rapid fire on this?
I'm ready for some rapid fire, some fun. So, basically, whatever the first answer that pops into your mind, let it out.
All right.
There's no wrong answers.
Yeah, there's no wrong answers. It's a fun.
I think we got a wrong answer on the last podcast. Actually, I think that was.
I don't even know if we should talk about that.
We'll move past.
We're just going to move past that answer. I mean, it's just choose your movies wisely. If you ask a question about your movie, just choose your movies wisely. I just think our last.
It was shocking.
It was
If I had to pick a movie that she wouldn't have said, it would have been that one.
Yeah, that would have been the top 5.
I'm a big movie person.
Okay, good.
I still have to watch the film, so we'll see. I need to rate it. All right.
You don't have to rush out to get that one.
All right, Jill.
Okay.
So if you could be one animal, what would it be?
Polar bear.
A polar bear.
I like it.
Wow. Okay. What? Three guests, 3 very different answers. I like that.
Yep. Favorite movie? It's a hard one.
See, I'm a big movie person, so I can name like 50 movies.
Go.
Well, give me a couple off the top.
One of my favorite series, The Avengers, and Star Wars.
Nice. Star Wars.
Big Star Wars.
Have you ever seen the movie Waterworld?
No.
That's okay. No, Coach Fraz, I'm just kidding. I know you're. If you're listening, we're just joking around.
She said no, but her eyes said, God, no.
I was like, what is that?
I'm still gonna watch it. Favorite music artist?
Favorite music artist? A Boogie.
There you go, A Boogie. Do you live on campus or off campus?
Off campus.
Do you play any other sports other than soccer when you were growing up?
Basketball and track.
Nice.
Right.
If you could pick a goal song, what would it be after you score a goal?
Oh, God. We Are the Champions.
I like it.
That's a good one.
That is a good answer.
That's a good answer.
Favorite athlete?
Mia Hamm.
Favorite outdoor activity?
Soccer.
How about favorite outdoor activity outside of soccer?
Outside of soccer? Swimming.
Okay.
Swimming.
There you go. When playing soccer, would you rather play on grass or turf?
Turf.
All day. That was a quick answer.
Just not MetLife.
I feel like all the fields are turf.
True.
Now it's hardly any grass field left.
What's one thing off your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
Travel outside the United States.
All right.
Whereabouts? Any place in particular?
Before COVID happened, I was going to do a study abroad in Liverpool. Got canceled. We were going to go as a team to Costa Rica. Got canceled. So.
Man, COVID's screwing up everything for everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's nuts. I was on a side note, I was listening to the end of the Laker game last night, or the end of the Heat game last night, and Stephen A. Smith said, as a reporter, the dream NBA Finals matchup is Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat. Not for basketball, but because of the locations. Like going from city, like you're going to go from Miami to like great nightlife. It's
that,
awesome to do.
Right.
And Stephen is like, great. The 1 year we get it, we're in a bubble in Florida and we're not traveling anywhere, of course. Like it's just screwed up a lot of things. It's nuts.
Yeah, I would think Mr. Silver was rooting for Boston, LA.
Maybe. I wasn't, that's for sure. Did you have more questions?
I have a couple more.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
You're getting all the questions.
Yeah, really.
This has been a true rapid fire.
Right,
She's
you're
been
right
great.
on it.
She's been good. One food for the rest of your life, and you can only eat that one. Pizza? That was
a great answer.
Pappy's Pizza.
Oh, there we go.
Pizza.
That was the answer to the next question.
Okay.
This is the hardest one of them all.
Okay.
If you could pick 4 people that are alive to have dinner with, who would it be? Could be anybody.
They have to be alive.
Nope.
No, dead or alive. It could be anybody you want.
Okay.
This is the last one, so think about it.
I'm going to say Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Okay.
Mia Hamm, Larry Bird. One more.
The fourth one always gets people.
Fourth one's hard.
You're
One more
running,
seat
you're running
at
out
the
of
table.
options there. I mean, you may have like 4 or 5 more people. You got to fit
You're right.
one person
You're
in
right.
that slot.
That's why it's hard. You're right.
It's tough.
John Wayne.
John.
Yeah.
John Wayne.
All right. Wow,
Great
that'd be
answer.
awesome.
John Wayne.
That'd be an interesting
an
group
awesome
of people at that table, too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You a big John Wayne fan?
I am a massive John Wayne fan.
That's fantastic.
Big Jake is my favorite movie.
Really?
It's classic.
I've seen all of them.
Come on. That's
Every
wild.
single one.
So we got a little extra time, and I can tell one, but I'd like you, without getting anybody in trouble, without getting yourself in a weird spot. Give me one of your funniest Coach Cohen stories, because our listeners don't know Coach Cohen. We're gonna have him on. He is one of the funniest people you can meet. Everything he does is just hilarious to me. He's one of the greatest. He's one one of the greatest guys. A great dad. He's an awesome dude.
Somebody asked me what it's like working with him, and I said I can't ever prepare for a conversation with him. I can't. It's
Yeah,
always
keeps you on your
something.
toes.
Seriously,
That's what it's about.
Like I see him coming, and I have no idea what he's going to ask me about.
And it's awesome. I love it. I love working with him.
Phenomenal.
It's great. Give me a good Coach Cohen story.
Oh, God.
You know what? And if I'm putting you on the spot and you don't want to tell me one, I'll understand. I'll understand 100%.
A good Coach Cohen story? There might be something funny that happened to him.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, he might kill me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Okay, I think he was playing in a basketball league with different people here and may or may not have gotten a black eye.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow, I know
Yes.
exactly where that happened.
Yeah.
It was from my left elbow. Coach Cohen, I'm so sorry. I went for a rebound. I just came down, and he was right there. Boom. So it's all coming out right now.
So he shows up at practice that day. He's got a black eye.
Swollen shut. I
So
don't
what-
think
Coach
I
Cohen,
laughed
I'm so
hard.
sorry.
So was the team chirping him a little bit,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Yeah, he's done some funny like
Oh, he's a
there was
funny
one year where he just came down to the equipment room and he said to me, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to give so and so a haircut." He goes, "You can shave my head." And he just sat down and we just shaved all of his hair off. I mean, he had a full head of hair. He just sat down and shaved his head. He's now I'll tell you this story. There's a whole backstory to it, but I'm not going to get into all of it. But Coach Cohen's into these different. He's into different stuff for his team. Different, like you said, you had a coach, a mindset coach, that kind of stuff. So there was one year he was really big into post game, what he wanted his team to do post game. So he decided he was going to get chocolate milk was the big thing for the team. He wanted to get after the game. He wanted us to bring a cooler of chocolate milk out to the field for the team. So whatever. So I'm up in his office with him, and I said to him, well, where are you going to get the chocolate milk from? He's like, funny you should ask. He says, there's a local dairy farm. I'm going to call them. And I'm going to talk to the guy about getting the chocolate milk for the team. So Coach Cohen, who's, once again, he jokes a lot. He dials the number. Ring, ring, ring. Old guy answers the phone. Hello? Says, I'm so-and-so, Coach Cohen. I'm looking to get some, I wonder if you guys, now he says, first of all, he starts, I wonder if I can get milk from you guys. The guy's like, well, this is a dairy farm. So Cohen's like, okay. And I don't know why this is funny to me. I was telling the story the other day. Nobody laughed at it. But for me in the moment, it was so funny because he was so serious. And he said to the guy, well, I'm looking to get chocolate milk for my team. And the guy said on the line, he goes, son, they don't make chocolate cows. And Coach Cohen had noticed the first time he was rendered speechless. He goes, okay. And that was the end of the conversation. But I just remember being in there. I was rolling on the floor laughing because he was trying to be so serious and backfired on him. So
All right.
Got anything for me, Cub? You got any?
Did you end up getting some chocolate milk?
Probably. I think we did that year.
Okay.
I think we did something at least. Maybe we went to the store and bought it. I'm not sure, but I know we did some different things. So, but Gillian, we really appreciate you being on. This was awesome. This was a great interview. It's great to get the insight of a student athlete and a student.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe.
So we've been fortunate to have some coaches and stuff. But
what? How do you feel about the name of the podcast?
I like it.
Yeah.
Is that other name you sent me, was that supposed to be the name of the podcast?
No.
Okay.
I ran a hashtag across her, and it was just good, but it's not great. And I went, we're not using it.
I didn't want to lie to you.
It's done. No, I like that. That's good.
That was a great interview. I thought you did a fantastic job, and we loved having you on. We learned a ton of different things, and we got to pick on Coach Cohn a little bit, which is always fun. Always fun to do. And like I said, we really appreciate you being here. So, and thanks for your work as an EMT and SAC and all that. So you got a lot on your plate as a student and an athlete, and among everything else that you do. So it's awesome. We really do appreciate it, and we thank you very much. So
thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks, Joe.
And we thank everybody for listening today. Like I said, episode 3. Today is September 29th, 2020. And
Owl or nothing.
Right?
Owl or nothing out.
We'll be back Friday. We'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Owl or nothing.
Out.